The reason why Instagram is becoming more and more like TikTok and what it's going to mean for your business. Welcome in the daily discussion. Hello and welcome on the daily discussion. My name is Quentin and today we're going to focus on Instagram. If you've already opened your application in the last few days, well, you've seen that things have changed quite a lot. And we're going to talk about what exactly is happening right now in the application at the technical level, and also what it means for you as a business person, because users hate this new interface. But honestly, for a business, spoiler alert, is going to be good, like really good. Before going any further, now Instagram is Facebook. I know they have been bought since a few years now, but until now, the Instagram leadership team managed to really stay away from the Facebook main company. They actually were ruling their own boat, if you look at it. But right now, with all the change that's happening inside Instagram, I believe that those times are gone. So before going any further, I want to talk about something quite fun. It's the history of Facebook and their superpower. Facebook mojo is to buy and steal. That's it. That's what they have been doing in the last 10 years. Do you remember when Facebook started to have privacy issues? What did they do? They actually bought WhatsApp to get their encrypted messaging. Then Snapchat became to be huge with stories. So what did Facebook do? Well, first they tried to buy Snapchat. They did try, but Ivan Spiegel didn't agree with that. So if they couldn't buy them, they stole from them. They did their own stories. And then they didn't stop here, actually. They just kept stealing. Every time Snapchat has a new functionalities, well, Facebook tried to do the same. Just look, for example, at the AR face animation selfies. Snapchat were actually the first one to bring them on the mass market. At the same time, there was an application that started to get quite big. The name was Periscope. I don't think you've heard this name in a few years. Periscope was quite huge with their live. And it was when Twitch was still far from being mainstream. Twitch was still very niche market for gamers. But Periscope really took the live thing to the mass. So this time, Facebook didn't even try to buy Periscope. They just did the same thing. And that's the basic strategy that we have seen since Facebook started to implement more and more functionalities. For example, Facebook gaming, that look a lot like Twitch. Facebook dating, that took a lot like Tinder, and it goes on and on and on. Why I'm telling you that about Facebook is that I believe that now Instagram is really following the same path, and they got one enemy basically, which is TikTok, because they see that TikTok has a growth that has been huge in the last years. Like, after all, when you start using TikTok, it's really crazy what's happening. It's like TikTok really sucked you in a black hole and you just keep on scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. The time just goes by so fast. That's not something that happens on Instagram or Facebook. And that's the reason why Facebook copies them with Instagram. And now let's talk deeply about how TikTok actually managed that and why this time I'm not sure that Facebook will actually be able to copy TikTok as much as they did in the last year with the others. Because it's not just a simple functionality. It's the core system that is fundamentally different. Let's look at this. You can look at it in this way. Facebook and Instagram were built around relations. So basically, it's all about who you follow. What you're going to see is the friend that you follow. That's the way their algorithm was set up. TikTok, on the other hand, is only focusing on your interest and what you watch. They don't care about who you follow, actually. They only care about what you're watching. So the core technology of those two applications, of Instagram and TikTok, are just totally different. Instagram is relationship-centric, TikTok is interest-centric. And that's actually a huge deal. It's not just like taking stories, so it's a basic functionality of a new size of video. It's not that. It's the core system of both applications. You can imagine the way to train an algorithm like a blank page. When Instagram started, they had a blank page, and what they did is that they feed data to this algorithm. And all the data were always about your relationship. And it created a tree around like who you know and who you follow. And according to that, they started to make hypotheses about what's going to interest you, what you will be into. That's the blank page for Instagram. For TikTok, the blank page and the data they feed has nothing to do with that. It's really only about when you open your app, the different interests that you select, like for example, dancing, finances, gaming, whatever it is, and then the different video that they showed you. And each time they show you a video, they just check, are you watching it all? Are you scrolling? Right away. Every time you do, that's a single data that they put in their blank page about your interest and about what you watch. And so they can build a totally different tree when you think about it. That's why I'm saying that the strength of TikTok compared to Instagram and why they can do the UI that they do with showing a lot of new different people all the time is really because of that, because of the fundamental way their algorithm works. And then of course there is like small details about the UI, like for example the fact that they just show short videos, and that on TikTok the way you scroll like one time, it's play a new video, when you scroll again, it's totally different than the infinity scroll of Facebook. It's a new evolution. So of course that actually helps. But the main strength of TikTok is really the way the algorithm works. And the problem doesn't stop there. It's not just a problem about the way Instagram and TikTok actually build their algorithm. It's the fact that Facebook really did a lot of work in the last years to integrate everything. So basically Facebook and Instagram is the same database. In some ways, it can be great, but it also means that they have a huge technical depth. It means that to make a change, to go on an algorithm, on an AI similar to TikTok, is going to be much more complicated because there is just so many pieces moving and that just go together. And there is another one problem. There is actually two more problems that they still struggle with. Is that the first thing is the iOS 14 update. With that, they lost a lot of data. And then the second problem is the new European regulation that forbid data transfer between the US and the European Union. That's also a huge deal because they had to split their database basically in two. All of that creates a lot of complexity for Facebook engineers to have to find solutions. While TikTok doesn't have this problem. They just keep building their blank page with a simple interest algorithm. Are you watching a video or not? So finally, at the end of the day, the UI, even if that's what people see, the UI is not really about the UI, what's happening right now. It's not really about the fact that now Facebook tries to do more video or now Facebook tries to show you more and more different accounts. The most thing is that Facebook are trying to improve their algorithm to look more like TikTok because they understand that right now that's what's working. The problem is it's not sure if they are going to be able to do it right. And so now they face a huge amount of backlash. It's like there is really a common ground between every Instagram users. They all say that it basically sucks. When even Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner say it, they both say that Instagram sucks, it can be a huge problem. So when Kylie Jenner in 2018 criticized the new design of Snapchat, and she basically told everyone that she didn't open the app anymore, the company shares had a 7% drop. I mean, that's huge. But at the same time, Facebook is used to have this kind of major backslash. I mean, anyone here remember the introduction of a timeline at the time? It was fucking crazy. So the next step is, all right, users hate this new interface. But what does it mean for a business owner? Well, for a business, it's actually pretty good. We reach a point, whether if you wanted to be seen on Facebook or Instagram, where you had to pay for it. If you had like a business account, you could not even be seen if you didn't give some euro to the Mark Zuckerberg Foundation, basically. With that new algorithm, that changed a lot of things. Because that means that if you manage to make good content as a business, you're definitely going to be seen. So that's a very good thing. To wrap things up, let's go back to 2017. At the time, Facebook did a poll to figure out the public perception toward Mark Zuckerberg and other top executives. And Zuckerberg was labeled by the public as a former innovator alongside Bill Gates, and not a current innovator like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. Well, apparently Mark didn't believe that. Well, guess what? The redesign of Instagram into a TikTok clone is the perfect example of why you're a former innovator now.